The family and friends of a 19-year-old student from Dalton say a traffic stop landed her in an ICE detention center. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Chapman-Whitfield.
And I'm Josh Rowe. This is Ximena Arias-Cristobal. Arrest reports we obtained show Dalton police pulled her over on Monday for not following a no-turn on red sign. That's right. Well, they took her to the Whitfield County Jail, where authorities say they determined that she was in the country illegally and moved her to that ICE center in Columbus, Georgia. The Whitfield County Sheriff's Office entered into a jail enforcement model agreement with ICE back in June of 2020, which allows them to do that. However, people who know the teenager, who is a star runner and an active member of her church, say she is not a criminal and does not deserve to be deported. News Channel 9's Mary Beth Mangrum leads us off tonight.
My mother, because we had to pay a lot of stuff, and I've been helping her out because she doesn't know English, and it's just a lot of weight on us both. Because my little sister, well, she can help a lot because she's only 9.
Dalton police say they pulled over 19-year-old Ximena Arias-Cristobal for making an improper turn at this traffic light, and they discovered she was driving without a proper license.
And then Monday, when she was arrested, we were all just blindsided.
Just 2 weeks ago, Arias-Cristobal's family tells us that they went through a similar situation with her father. They tell us that he was exceeding the speed limit here in Tunnel Hill, and when he got pulled over during a traffic stop. And during that traffic stop, he did not have a driver's license.
And when my dad left, well, it was only her and my older sister to help out with the family, and now that they took her away, it's only her.
Arias-Cristobal and her father are now both at the Stewart Detention Facility near Columbus. She and her parents came from Mexico City back in 2010.
They came as illegal people. They came like other people to make a better future for my little sister. For my older sister when she was 4, and they came in with no papers or anything to be here.
They tell us her dad tried to secure a work visa, but had difficulty.
My dad has his own company, and they called a lawyer to see if they could get a job permit or a visa, and they said that they hadn't hit that status to get one yet.
Arias-Cristobal was 4 years old at the time. Her family says the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA program, stopped accepting new applications before she was eligible. Immigration attorney Terry Olson says there aren't many options for kids in that situation.
Most individuals who could only qualify for DACA or who entered illegally are not going to have any pathway.
In Dalton, Mary Beth Mangrum, News Channel 9.
Now, the police report says Arias-Cristobal told them that she had an international license but didn't have it with her. Georgia Driver's Services say those are only valid for 30 days after moving to the U.S. A Republican Georgia state rep from Dalton wrote a letter to the judge on Arias-Cristobal's behalf and says his party's deportation conversation has been about hardened criminals. He goes on to say, quote, "Unfortunately, the people that are not hard criminals are getting caught up in the wash. It seems like we are much better at catching people that are committing misdemeanors than people who are actually a danger to society."
My sister goes to college, and she was an honor student since middle school, and she runs. She loves to run. It's her passion.
With 2 family members now in the Stewart Detention Facility, Ximena Arias-Cristobal's family worries about her future. Family friend Hannah Jones told us Wednesday about the 19-year-old's plight with DACA.
She doesn't qualify for the Dreamer and the DACA protections, so there really is no pathway to citizenship for these individuals.
That's because her family says she came here from Mexico City when she was 4 in 2010. DACA only applied to people here before 2007. We asked the attorney representing her about what options it left her with.
There's been no new individuals approved, so even if she was eligible, she wouldn't have been able to apply for it.
She is not a danger to the community. She's been here for 15 years.
And as it stands, Georgia Republican Representative Casey Carpenter says Arias-Cristobal had no pathway to legal citizenship.
That's the argument that you hear all the time from people on the other side is, well, they've been here 15 years. Why haven't they become a citizen? Because it's impossible.
It's something he's seeing more of in his district, where more than half of the residents are Hispanic.
I probably get 6 or 7 calls a week from people that have been detained. No, it's not isolated. You know, it's not the law enforcement's fault.
And he says it's a growing problem under the current administration.
The reality is we need to secure the border and have a more robust immigration system where people can apply and they don't have to wait 8 years to come into the country.
A closer look at Georgia state law and a renewed federal push against illegal immigration provides a clearer picture of what happened to a 19-year-old student from Dalton. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Chapman-Whitfield.
And I'm Josh Rowe. Police say they arrested Ximena Arias-Cristobal during a traffic stop because she did not have a driver's license. The Whitfield County Sheriff's Office took control of the teen and discovered she was not in the country legally, a fact admitted by Arias-Cristobal's mother to us.
Now, the Sheriff's Office gave custody of the teenager to Immigration and Customs Enforcement per their agreement with the Department of Homeland Security. Authorities say Arias-Cristobal was then taken to a detention center near Columbus, Georgia.
News Channel 9's Mary Beth Mangrum has covered this story since she first spoke with the family. She joins us now to explain where federal and state policies overlap. Mary Beth.
Josh, Kim, in August of 2008, the state of Georgia made changes to driving penalties and adjusted standards for receiving a driver's license. The attorney representing Arias-Cristobal told us those changes are what led to her and her father's arrests.
She was handcuffed and taken away to Whitfield County Jail because she did not have a valid U.S. driver's license. She didn't have a valid U.S. driver's license because she was brought to the country when she was 4 years old in 2010 and grew up here.
In 2008, 2 years before Arias-Cristobal and her parents came to the United States from Mexico City, the state of Georgia made changes to driving laws. In this letter from the state attorney general, it states that driving without a license was previously a misdemeanor traffic offense.
She had an international license and they couldn't accept it, so they arrested her.
This change made driving without a license a fingerprintable offense, meaning an arrest would be made. This arrest report says Arias-Cristobal was pulled over after an improper right turn at this intersection by Dalton police. The report says she did not have her international license at the time, but told officers about it. Thursday, we asked her attorney if that international license allowed her to drive legally.
If you have a foreign driver's license or you don't have a foreign driver's license, you can just apply for international license. It's meaningless under the law of Georgia or the law of Tennessee.
My dad was going to work and he was going to get materials because he's building a house for some clients, and they stopped him.
And an arrest report from Tunnel Hill tells us a similar situation happened with her father. That report says he was speeding and turned his international license over to officers, but it was not valid.
If they're here longer than 6 months, they have, or in most states, they have to get a license in that state.
Georgia Senate Bill 488 passed during 2008 and ruled that all drivers must provide a form of legal documentation in order to receive a valid driver's license, something that Arias-Cristobal's attorney says wasn't possible for her.
Unfortunately, when you grow up here without papers and you enter the way she did, which was through her parents, there's no way to get papers. You can't get legal.
The Department of Homeland Security made a post on X about Arias-Cristobal and her father's detainment by ICE after those separate traffic stops, saying she will return to Mexico with her family. That full statement is on our website. Kim?
Mary Beth, thank you. The Dalton City Attorney saying tonight they have dropped all charges against the 19-year-old student from Dalton who is still in ICE custody.
Originally, Dalton police said they pulled over Ximena Arias-Cristobal after she made an illegal right turn at an intersection. They said she did not have a driver's license. Multiple law enforcement agencies say her arrest during that traffic stop started a series of events that landed her in an ICE detention center near Columbus, Georgia.
Well, tonight, Dalton City Attorney says they have reviewed evidence against Arias-Cristobal, and they say police stopped the wrong vehicle that night.
He says they are dropping charges against her as she faces an upcoming bond hearing. News Channel 9's Mary Beth Mangrum joins us now to tell us more about these developments. Mary Beth.
Josh, Kim, this is a look at the arrest of 19-year-old Ximena Arias-Cristobal. It's something that the city of Dalton is now saying should not have happened. That's after a review of the dash cam footage showed Dalton police stopping the wrong truck. The city of Dalton is dismissing Ximena Arias-Cristobal's charges because this black truck in the beginning of the video is the one police should have stopped. According to the city, once out of the dash cam's view, the officers saw that truck make an illegal right-hand turn turn onto Thornton Avenue. That officer tries to pursue it, but must stop at the red light. After the officer is able to make that turn, Arias-Cristobal is pulled over in this dark gray Dodge truck. But he passes the truck police say made that illegal right turn just moments before. You can hear Arias-Cristobal say the truck belongs to a close family friend and attempt to call that friend as well as her mother. You can also hear discussion about the Georgia state law we told you about last week that led to Arias-Cristobal being taken into custody.
So in the state of Georgia, when you drive without a license, you know what happens? Have you ever been to jail? Oh, you're going. All right, go ahead and turn around for me. You have to go to jail by the state of Georgia. Hands behind your back.
Can I call my mom?
Yeah, we'll call your mom.
The city of Dalton will hold a news conference at 7 p.m. with more information on this, and we'll have full coverage on newschannel9.com. Meanwhile, Arias-Cristobal will have a bond hearing on May 20th. We asked attorney Dustin Baxter about what would happen if that bond was granted, and he tells us if she is released on bond, her case will be transferred to a non-detained immigration court and set for a new hearing, likely a year or two from now. We have the full dash cam videos and full coverage of Arias-Cristobal's arrest at newschannel9.com. Kim?
Mary Beth, thank you. A GoFundMe campaign has raised more than $77,000 for Arias-Cristobal's defense fund. Once again, her attorneys say the teen's bond hearing is scheduled for May 20th. And Chief of Police in Dalton says he regrets the situation that led to the arrest and detainment of a college student in the country without legal permission.
That student remains in ICE custody tonight. This comes after the department confirmed officers pulled over the wrong vehicle earlier this month. There's a composite picture right here we put together to illustrate the law enforcement's version of events. Police say the Ford truck in the lower half of the picture made an illegal right turn on Thornton Avenue. An officer then followed a line of cars in an effort to make a traffic stop.
The department reports the officer drove past the Ford and instead pulled over a Dodge, which you can see in the upper half of this picture. Ximena Arias-Cristobal was behind the wheel of that truck.
After reviewing the dash cam video of the traffic stop, it was determined that Ms. Arias-Cristobal's vehicle was very similar in appearance to the offender vehicle that actually made the improper right turn.
Meantime, Chief Crossan says the department has no control over Arias-Cristobal's ICE status.
Ray Collado was in Dalton tonight. He joins us now with more on the department's reaction. Ray.
Josh, Kim, in this new body cam video, you could see the moments when Ximena Arias-Cristobal learned she was about to go to jail for a traffic violation she did not commit. However, despite pulling over the wrong person, Assistant Chief Chris Crossan says the officer was just trying to do his job.
So in the state of Georgia, when you drive without a license, you know what happens?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been to jail?
No, sir.
Oh, you're going.
I cannot go to jail. I have my finals next weekend. My family really depends on this.
You shouldn't be driving.
I know, but
you'll get released.
My family doesn't have the money to release me.
Dalton police dropped the traffic charges against Ximena Arias-Cristobal after dashcam video shows an officer pulled over the wrong truck in the wake of a traffic violation. They say the driver of this Dodge truck was the one who broke the law, not Arias-Cristobal.
Very regrettable place that we are right here, that we've ended up in this place with the way this unfolded and the way it turned out, and that's kind of where we are. The video from perfect hindsight 2020 view of a camera, and we can certainly see that the vehicle was a different one in that line of traffic.
However, now that Arias-Cristobal is in ICE custody, police say the situation is out of their hands.
We have no part in the other proceedings. I'm sure her attorneys now with this information will make sure that is brought forward on her behalf.
Some people at the press conference asked if the police department would issue a formal apology to the family.
But there's really not been a sense of an apology at all to Ximena or her family. Like, would you be prepared to apologize on behalf of the police department?
Keep using that same word. I mean, it's a regrettable situation and a regrettable place that we've ended up in. Officer was trying to do his job.
A GoFundMe campaign has raised more than $77,000 for Arias-Cristobal's defense fund. Her attorneys say the teen's bond hearing is scheduled for May 20th. Josh?
Ray, thank you. Assistant Chief Crossan also responded to a question about the department's interactions in general with Dalton's minority residents.
Yo no tengo this kind of action will affect the relation with the Hispanic community, because some people believe this racial profiling against them.
I understand. People certainly can believe a lot of different things. There's a video, and you can certainly, from that officer's perspective, you can make your own conclusions about different things, and certainly we have that internal review process so that we can look at all those different things to make sure that we do with the things that we're supposed to be doing.
You can watch that full press conference on our website right now, newschannel9.com.
Despite dropping traffic charges against a 19-year-old woman from Dalton, police there say her status in ICE custody is out of their hands. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Chapman-Whitfield.
And I'm Josh Rowe. This dash cam video from Dalton police shows the moment Ximena Arias-Cristobal was taken into custody. However, the Dalton city attorney says after review of the video, the officer pulled over the wrong person.
Arias-Cristobal's attorney tells us the drop traffic charges will not change the mind of immigration and customs enforcement officials. However, as Mary Beth Mangrum reports, this change may help in a different way. She leads us off tonight.
Have you ever been to jail? Oh, you're going.
After this traffic stop,
My family really depends on this.
You shouldn't be driving.
Dalton police have now dropped all charges against 19-year-old Ximena Arias-Cristobal. We spoke with her family before this dash cam footage was reviewed.
She turned, and then the cop stopped her and told her that she had ran a red light, which was not true.
Dalton police say they found the offense after reviewing this footage. Just off screen of that dash cam, Dalton police say at this intersection, an officer witnessed this black Ford truck make an improper right turn. But as that officer tries to locate that vehicle, he passes it and instead pulls over this dark gray Dodge Ram driven by Arias-Cristobal. We reached out to Arias-Cristobal's attorneys to see if those dismissed charges could impact her immigration hold with ICE, and if the dismissal could affect her chances of immigration bond for her upcoming hearing. Attorney Dustin Baxter told us in part, having the criminal charges dropped will not sway ICE to release her from custody without a fight. And we hope that having the charges dropped increases Ximena's chance at immigration bond. Dalton police say there's nothing they can do.
We made an arrest based on state law, and the procedure from there is not within our purview.
Come over here.
A statement immigration attorney Terry Olson agrees with.
Really, ICE has her now, has her detained, and per the immigration orders that they issued, it doesn't really matter if there's a conviction.
In Dalton, Mary Beth Mangrum, News Channel 9.
And you can find our continuing coverage of the story on the homepage of newschannel9.com. Scan the QR code on your screen right now to hear what Dalton police said after we learned that officer pulled over the wrong vehicle with Arias-Cristobal at the wheel. You will also find the full dash cam video of the initial traffic stop that led to Cristobal's arrest. A planned protest in support of a 19-year-old from Whitfield County in ICE custody happening now in Dalton.
Tonight, we're also hearing more reaction from an elected U.S. official who represents Ximena Arias-Cristobal's area in Washington, D.C. Earlier this week, we learned Dalton police pulled over the wrong vehicle with a 19-year-old behind the wheel. They then dropped the charges. Authorities say her arrest at this traffic stop ended with her in an ICE detention center near Columbus, Georgia.
Friends of the family say the young woman's father was taken into ICE custody a couple of weeks before her arrest. However, a family friend tells us he was released on bond.
News Channel 9's Mary Beth Mangrum joins us now live to give us an update on this. She's at that planned protest tonight. Mary Beth.
Yeah, Josh, Kim, 19-year-old Ximena Arias-Cristobal has now been in ICE custody at the Stewart Detention Center for a week now. That's as 140 people have around 140 people have gathered here in support of the college student. And we're learning more about her father's case and where that stands.
You have to go to jail by the state of Georgia. Hands behind your back.
After charges against 19-year-old Ximena Arias-Cristobal were dropped Monday, she still remains in ICE custody in the Stewart Detention Center. But we're told by family friend Hannah Jones that her father, Jose Francisco Arias Tovar, met his $7,000 immigration bond Wednesday, meaning he will be back in Dalton with Arias-Cristobal's mother and younger sisters.
My dad was going to work and he was going to get materials materials because he's building a house for some clients, and they stopped him.
U.S. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene released a statement to us about the officer error that led to Arias-Cristobal's arrest and immigration hold, saying in part, quote, "While local Dalton officials dropped her charges, the facts remain. She was driving illegally without a license and has no legal basis to remain in the United States." We asked her about the demonstration planned for the college student outside of her Dalton office. She tells us in part, "While Democrat activists spend their day demonstrating, I'll stay focused on doing my job, fighting for every hardworking family in Northwest Georgia." Now, you can read the Congresswoman's full statements on our website at newschannel9.com. And we had an opportunity to speak with the Arias-Cristobal family here at the protest tonight. They tell us that Arias Tovar is expected home sometime tomorrow evening. Reporting live, I'm Mary Beth Mangrum, News Channel 9.
All right, Mary Beth, thank you. We have another crew covering the protest tonight. Depend on us for updates as the story continues to unfold. Come to air tonight, a Dalton family reunited with their father, who's been in custody with ICE in Georgia. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Chapman-Whitfield. We've been keeping you updated on the story and details of Ximena Arias-Cristobal. Dalton Police Department says that an officer wrongly stopped the college student. That traffic stop led to her being held in ICE detention near Columbus, Georgia. Arias-Cristobal's father faced a similar turn of events a couple weeks prior. Jose Francisco Arias-Tovar was picked up in Tunnel Hill about a month ago for going 19 miles over the speed limit. He was then taken by ICE to the Stewart Detention Center in Columbus, Georgia. And we learned Wednesday that Arias-Tovar met his immigration bond and is now back home in Dalton. Let's go live now to News Channel 9's Mary Beth Mangrum. Mary Beth, bring us up to date.
Yes, Kim, we're here. Arias Tovar has just reunited with his family, and it's good to see you. I just wanted to ask, how does it feel for you to be home now after a month?
Well, I feel very happy, and I feel like I'm in my home finally. So it's just 1 month in detention center, but I'm here finally, and I'm happy for my wife and my daughters.
Mm-hmm. And we just got to see a bit of that reunion here in the driveway. How does it feel to be able to see physically your family again?
Well, it's great. My daughters, 1 month, it's a long time, but I feel great now, and thank you for everything.
Mm-hmm. And is there anything you can tell us about that month that you spent in the Stewart Detention Center?
It's a bad experience. It's a real bad time. Too much problems over there. Too much innocent people. Mm-hmm. I think this time it's a crazy time for Hispanic people. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I know some people did bad things. Some people it's criminal, but many people is not. So I don't know how we can fix this because a bunch of innocent people it's over there right now, and too many families it's got like separate right now. Too many wives and kids in homes and in detention center, thousands men over there.
And we heard that there was a bit of a delay in you getting here due to a medical exam. Could you explain that to us?
About what?
There was a bit of a delay of you getting here because of a medical exam.
I don't understand that question.
All right, well, we will check back in with more information later. Reporting live, I'm Mary Beth Mangrum, News Channel 9.
All right, Mary Beth, thank you very much. And of course, we'll be out there awaiting his, well, actually, he is back home. And as Mary Beth said, that she will be out there conducting interviews, and we'll have information for you on Good Morning Chattanooga. Jose Arias-Cristobal, the father of a college student who was handed over to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, has been released on bond.
That's as his daughter, Ximena Arias-Cristobal, remains in custody at the same facility he was just released from. Our crews were there and at the family's home when Arias-Cristobal saw his family again last night.
How does it feel for you to be home now after a month?
Well, I feel very happy, and I feel like I'm in my home finally. So it's just 1 month in detention center, but I'm here finally, and I'm happy for my wife and my daughters.
Arias-Cristobal was placed in ICE detention after police stopped him for a traffic violation and arrested him for driving without a valid license.
News Channel 9's Mary Beth Mangrum talked to him about his experience and how it feels knowing his daughter is still in ICE custody. Mary Beth.
Kim, Maggie, we got to speak with Arias-Cristobal after he saw his wife and 2 of his daughters after a month spent in ICE custody. He tells us it's a bittersweet time as his 19-year-old daughter remains in the detention center he was released from. Jose Francisco Arias-Cristobal was met with open arms in the driveway of his Dalton home.
Alguien en la vida ser mejor que yo. Y yo por eso me levanto todas las mañanas, para poder brindarles un mejor futuro a mis hijas.
That's after a month in the Stewart Detention Center, where his daughter, 19-year-old Ximena Arias-Cristobal, remains.
Verla, yo pedí, le escribí al director, le escribí al manager de la unidad, le escribí a mi oficial, les escribí cartas, escribí reportes, les dije, entiéndanme, soy un padre, mi hija está aquí, tiene 19 años, déjenmela ver, y nunca me contestaron, no me dejaron verla nunca.
He got to speak to her that Thursday he was released.
Ximena me llamó por teléfono y me dice que si estaba feliz. Y le dije, hija, no te puedo contestar eso. Yo salí mi cuerpo, pero mi corazón se queda.
With all but one family member now in his arms, Arias-Cristobal told us about the detention center.
Horas esperando para comer. A veces son las 2 de la tarde y no te han dado nada de comer. La gente tiene hambre allá adentro y solo te cierran la puerta y no hay comida. Ese es un trato como de animales. Tienen a 90 personas, gente durmiendo en el concreto, en el piso. Llegan autobuses y autobuses de gente inocente. La policía no está haciendo bien su trabajo, están inventando cargos que no son.
We've reached out to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement about those claims and are awaiting a response. Kim?
Mary Beth, thank you. Ximena Arias-Cristobal's bond hearing is set for May 20th. Depend on us to keep you updated with what happens. We've learned the Dalton police officer who pulled over a 19-year-old Dalton college student was previously under an internal affairs investigation. Good evening. I'm Kim Chapman with Field.
And I'm Joshua. Officer Leslie O'Neill was investigated 2 years prior to the stop that resulted in Ximena Arias-Cristobal being turned over to Immigration and Customs Enforcement. O'Neill stopped her after police initially said she turned right on red at an intersection where that is prohibited.
However, dash cam video revealed the officer pulled over the wrong vehicle by mistake. As a result, the city of Dalton says all charges against Arias-Cristobal have been dropped.
Despite this, she remains in ICE custody with a bond hearing set for tomorrow. News Channel 9's Mary Beth Mangrum has been looking into Officer O'Neill's record.
And she has more on what led to those internal affairs investigations. Mary Beth.
As we near the immigration bond hearing for 19-year-old Dalton student Ximena Arias-Cristobal, we're learning more about the officer who pulled her over at this intersection and previous disciplinary action that he's faced.
Come over here.
This dash cam video shows Officer Leslie O'Neill stopping the wrong vehicle for an illegal right turn on red.
Have you ever been to jail? Oh, you're going.
Officer O'Neill's internal affairs file tells us 2 years before he wrongly pulled over Arias-Cristobal, he was found to be at fault for 2 crashes, and that Officer O'Neill was investigated after sharing body camera footage without the appropriate approval in July of 2023.
Turn around.
He received some disciplinary action, including a written reprimand and remedial training on evidence handling procedures. 19-year-old Ximena Arias-Cristobal, whose charges from this traffic stop were dropped by Dalton PD, remains in ICE custody and could return to the city as early as Tuesday.
We can't ever guarantee anything when it comes to bonds and immigration court, but we have a positive outlook.
That's if her immigration bond is approved by a judge in her Tuesday hearing.
It's our job to try and convince the judge that not only is Ximena not a danger to society, but she's also not a flight risk.
Jose Francisco Arias-Tovar was pulled over and sent to the same ICE facility for driving without a license 2 weeks before his daughter. We were there as he reunited with his family. He now tells us he's in talks with an Atlanta-based attorney to pursue a work visa.
So anytime immigration is trying to actively deport you, you can request that a judge cancel the removal and grant you permanent status in the U.S. You just have to show that you've been here for more than 10 years, you've been a person of good moral character, and you have U.S. citizen children who would suffer exceptional and extremely unusual hardship.
In Dalton, Mary Beth Mangrum, News Channel 9.
After Jose Francisco Arias-Tovar was released on bond, he claimed they would sometimes go without meals and have to sleep on the floor at the federal facility in Stewart County near Columbus, Georgia. We've reached out to ICE for a statement about those claims, and they told us, quote, ensuring the safety, security, and well-being of our individuals in our custody is a top priority at ICE, end quote.
Weeks, a Dalton family waited for this day to see if their daughter could leave ICE custody.
We learned today that Ximena Arias-Cristobal will now have to spend more time in that federal detainment facility before going in front of a judge. She's been in ICE custody since she was arrested during a traffic stop by Dalton police earlier this month.
Dalton police admit the officer who arrested her pulled over the wrong vehicle after he saw a different truck make an illegal turn. All local charges have since been dropped against the teenager, but she remains in ICE custody.
News Channel 9's Mary Beth Mangrum explains the reason behind this delay. Mary Beth.
Josh, Latricia, attorneys tell us that postponement came after technical issues. Dustin Baxter, who is one attorney representing Arias-Cristobal, says it was because of an AT&T outage in the area of Lumpkin, Georgia. That's where the 19-year-old track star and college student is being held at the Stewart Detention Center. Because there was no timeline for the repair, the judge had to reschedule Arias-Cristobal's virtual hearing. We were there for that as it began, but recording was not permitted, and the judge removed everyone from that virtual hearing besides the detainees and the attorneys before those proceedings started. We saw webcam video of Arias-Cristobal sitting in a room with one other woman, and several male detainees were also present waiting in a separate courtroom. Attorneys say that 2 detainees received bond before that internet outage halted things, and with that time extended, Baxter told us, we are sad that Ximena must spend another day at Stewart, but we remain focused on getting her a bond so that she can be reunited with her family. Arias-Cristobal's immigration bond hearing is now rescheduled for Wednesday at 1 p.m. Josh?
All right, Mary Beth, thank you. Arias-Cristobal's father, Jose Arias-Tovar, was released on bond last week on Thursday. We were there as he arrived home after spending a month in ICE custody at Stewart Detention Center, where his daughter now waits for her bond hearing. He was detained after being stopped by police for a speeding violation. According to his lawyers, he's applying for a work visa while he waits for his next court appearance.
A 19-year-old student from Dalton in ICE custody is expected back home tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Chapman-Whitfield.
And I'm Josh Rowe. A judge granted Ximena Arias-Cristobal bond today. It's after Dalton authorities say a police officer wrongly pulled over and arrested the college student. Authorities say that arrest sent her on the path to an ICE detention center near Columbus, Georgia.
Arias-Cristobal's father father was also in ICE custody. However, he also made bond and returned home late last week. Today's development comes after Arias-Cristobal's immigration bond was hearing pushed back a day due to outstage the Stewart Detention Center.
News Channel 9's Mary Beth Mangrum leads us off tonight. She joins us live from Dalton, where we're hearing from the young woman tonight about this experience. Mary Beth.
Yeah, Josh, Kim, the parents of Ximena Arias-Cristobal tell us they're overjoyed that their daughter will soon be here at their Dalton home. And for the first time, we got to speak to the 19-year-old from that ICE detention facility about how this experience has been, and that's where she's expected to be for at least one more day. Now, today officially marks 2 weeks of Arias-Cristobal being in custody at the Stewart Detention Center. Her father, Jose, was held in that same ICE facility after being pulled over in a separate traffic stop. He made bond and returned home last week. We spoke to Arias-Cristobal's parents just before they headed to the bank to get money for her $1,500 bond. And during our sit down with Jose and Daita, Arias-Cristobal called her mother, and we got to speak with her just a couple of hours after she got the news that she would be returning home. And we asked her what she wanted people to know about this experience.
It's life-changing. Even with all the bad and a situation that nobody wants to be in, I'm super grateful to have been able to experience what I've experienced because it's changed me as a person, and I won't ever be the same.
Estoy feliz de que finalmente Ximena va a regresar a casa y estamos muy contentos porque la familia va a estar reunida otra vez.
Now, again, the family tells us that Arias-Cristobal is expected to arrive home sometime tomorrow night. That's because it's the family's understanding that the facility only releases detainees in the late afternoon. We also spoke to Arias-Cristobal's attorneys, and they tell us there are currently no hearings set for Arias-Cristobal currently, and that they say, quote, it would be surprising if it was before mid-2026. Reporting live, I'm Mary Beth Mangrum, News Channel 9.
All right, Mary Beth, thank you very much. And you can catch up on all of our coverage of Arias-Cristobal and her story. Scan the QR code right now on your screen to learn more about the Dalton police officer who wrongly pulled over that student. You can also watch the dash cam video of that interaction, and be sure to follow Mary Beth on social media for any further updates tonight or in the future.
Hola, mami. Te van a entrevistar, hermosa.
Tenemos el ABC aquí en la casa y quieren hablar contigo. Estás en speaker.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Ximena. My name's Mary Beth. I'm with News Channel 9.
Hi.
Yeah, we just wanted to ask you how you're feeling now that you've gotten your immigration bond and you'll be on your way home soon.
I'm feeling super happy, joyful, excited, blessed. I'm really happy that everything's turning out the way it is.
And is there anything that you want people to know just about, I guess, the support that you've gotten here in the community of Dalton?
Yes, I want to thank them so much. Without them, I feel none of this would have been possible. Their support has helped me not only personally, but it has helped my family as well, and I'm super, super thankful for them, and may God bless all of them for the support and love they've poured out, not only to me, but to my family as well.
Mm-hmm. And is there anything that you can tell us about the time that you've spent there at the Stewart Detention Center?
Yes, it's life-changing. Even with all the bad and a situation that nobody wants to be in, I'm super grateful to have been able to experience what I've experienced because it's changed me as a person, and I won't ever be the same.
Mm-hmm. And is there anything else that you'd like for us to know or anything you want to share? I know it's a busy time right now.
I just want to thank God because He was my strength through all of this. If He wasn't the center of my life, I would have broke down and had no hope. But I thank God every single day for how everything is playing out and for keeping my family safe through these tough times.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, thank you so much, Ximena. Maybe we'll get to meet you soon.
Yes, hopefully. I'll be excited too.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
A Dalton teenager in ICE custody since earlier this month shares her story with us.
Ximena Arias-Cristobal expects to return home tomorrow after a judge's decision to grant her immigration bond. This all comes on the heels of new reaction from her family and her attorney. Thanks for watching. I'm Josh Rowe.
And I'm Kim Chapman-Whitfield. Our team coverage begins with Ximena's attorney, who claims the government does not have a strong enough case to keep Ximena in custody.
Ximena is not a flight risk and not a danger to the community, and those are the two criteria that the judge has taken into consideration. So I did feel a little bad for the government attorney because it was kind of awkward where, there was nothing that she could really say, to be honest.
News Channel 9's Ray Collado joined us in studio as the family prepares for tomorrow.
Ray was with the family when they answered a phone call from the ICE detention center. Ray.
Yeah, Josh, Kim, both of Ximena's parents tells us they're overjoyed that their daughter's coming home soon. During our sit down with their parents, Jose and Vita Ximena's called her mother, giving us the chance to speak with the teen just hours after her bond hearing.
Estoy muy feliz de que ya mi hija va a regresar a casa. Tengo muchas ganas ya de abrazarla. Ya 15 días de no sentir su calor, su piel y oír su voz, ya la necesito aquí en casa.
On this map on Google Earth, you can see the location where Ximena's been in ICE custody for 2 weeks at the Stewart Detention Center in Lupkin, Georgia. Jose tells me he's tried for years to acquire citizenship, but that a pathway isn't as easy as people may think.
Es muy difícil y la gente no lo sabe, creen que es fácil, pero la verdad no es así y la verdad es que sí, yo sí intenté muchas veces y no había podido. Yo intenté varios años, tuve citas, pagué dinero con abogados para preguntar si podía arreglar mi situación y todos me decían que no, que tenía que esperar a que cambiaran las leyes de inmigración.
Dustin Baxter, Ximena's attorney, tells me the judge swiftly ruled in their favor after a one-day delay, granting her a $1,500 bond, which is the lowest possible bond according to federal law.
The important thing is their case will no longer be on the rocket docket or the detained docket. We're kind of got a few things in the pipeline we're trying to develop as far as ways that we can keep her here long term, and we'll see what happens with that.
Ximena tells us while she's happy to soon be reunited with her family, she's just overjoyed from all the support the Dalton community has given her.
It's life-changing. Even with all the bad and a situation that nobody wants to be in, I'm super grateful to have been able to experience what I've experienced because it's changed me as a person, and I won't ever be the same. Without them, I feel none of this would have been possible. Their support has helped me not only personally, but it has helped my family as well.
Family tells me they expect Ximena to return home sometime tomorrow night. Kim?
Ray, thank you. Ximena's father also talked about his hope for the family's future.
Que ahora sigue es terminar los trámites para poder estar con nuestro estatus bien aquí en el país y seguir trabajando duro como siempre, ella estudiando su universidad y yo pues seguir trabajando duro para salir adelante.
The Department of Homeland Security and the Dalton Police Department previously said their employees followed the law during Ximena and her father's arrest for traffic violations. A spokesperson for the police department said officers arrested her by mistake after a different driver made an illegal turn. We have a crew in Dalton tomorrow to cover Ximena's expected return home.
Take it out of there. Pick it up.
Así es, Omar, aquí estoy en camino con la familia, con el padre José, su madre Daita y sus dos hermanas, quienes ya están aquí a tan solo minutos o segundos de poder darle ese abrazo que tanto han anhelado con Ximena. Ximena está aquí. Bienvenida, Ximena. Abrazos y besos. Este es el momento más emotivo para la familia. Después del 5 de mayo fue detenida en vivo y en directo, transmitiendo desde la ciudad de Dalton.
El momento más esperado de las últimas semanas para esta familia.
Ximena, ¿cómo te sientes?
Channel 9, this is Good Morning Chattanooga.
Being in Stewart changed my life. It's something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. It's life-changing, and yeah, I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
A 19-year-old college student from Dalton, now home from an ICE detention center this morning after she was arrested in a traffic stop.
Ximena Arias-Cristobal arrived home around 1 this morning, surrounded by family and, of course, the national media. Her family tells us she was released from the Stewart Detention Center before 9:30 last night, but that's several hours after what was initially expected.
And, of course, we here at News Channel 9 have been following the story since she was detained more than 2 weeks ago. A judge granting her bond Wednesday after her hearing was delayed by a day. Our Mary Beth Mangrum was with the family when she arrived home early this morning.
Here at her Dalton home, Ximena Arias-Cristobal reunited with her family after 2 weeks of being in an ICE detention center. That's after a wrongful traffic stop led to her arrest. After days and distance kept them apart, her parents and sisters welcomed the college student around 1:15 a.m. Arias-Cristobal was arrested due to a Georgia state law around driving without a valid license. Arias-Cristobal's parents tell us they do not have the proper documentation to get a license in the state, but as that wrongful arrest is looked into.
With the cop being under investigation, it opens more doors for me, so we will have to see what happens there.
But she says that experience inside of Stewart and the 48 hours before she entered that detention center have changed her life entirely.
It was scary. I was terrified, and then as I was being transported down to Stewart, I stopped at some offices in Atlanta, and they had me in a room by myself for 9 hours. I didn't know what was going on. I was never explained.
Arias-Cristobal's attorneys tell us that as of now, there are currently no hearings set for her in the future, and they don't believe that will happen until mid-2026. In the meantime, Arias-Cristobal says she and her family will be working towards citizenship. In Dalton, I'm Mary Beth Mangrum, News Channel 9.
Now, her father, Jose Arias-Tovar, was released on bond last week after also being in that same ICE detention center for a month.
The Dalton Police Department admitted officers mistakenly arrested Ximena Arias-Cristobal after a different driver made an illegal turn.
Now, after she was granted bond on Wednesday, we spoke with her family about what comes next now that their daughter has returned home. Her father told us he wants to work hard and continue to work towards legal status in the U.S.
Que ahora sigue es terminar los trámites para poder estar con nuestro estatus bien aquí en el país y seguir trabajando duro como siempre, ella estudiando su universidad y yo pues seguir trabajando duro para salir adelante.
We've dug into this situation and its legal implications since we started covering this story. And while Dalton police admit their officer pulled over the wrong vehicle in that traffic stop, the police report says the 19-year-old was still driving without a legal license. Her family told us she has an international license.
However, attorneys say that does not meet the legal requirement under Georgia state law. The family says they arrived in the States when Ximena was just 4 years old, and her two younger sisters were born here, making them U.S. citizens.
Ximena's attorney telling us there was no clear path to citizenship for her because her parents were here illegally. Of course, depend on us for updates as we will continue following this story. You can get the latest on our social media pages for those updates.
News Channel 9 at 11 starts right now.
A Dalton college student on the way home tonight after weeks in ICE custody.
The family of Ximena Arias-Cristobal expects her arrival sometime tonight or early tomorrow morning. We have a crew at their home right now as the situation plays out. Thanks for watching tonight. I'm Josh Rowe.
And I'm Kim Chapman-Whitfield. Behind us, you can see Arias-Cristobal on FaceTime right here moments after her release. It's about 9:30 tonight. The detention center is more than 3 hours from Dalton, so her trip back home is still underway. Here's another video for you of Arias-Cristobal's mother as she prepares dinner ahead of her daughter's return. A judge granted the teen's bond on Wednesday.
Her family decorated her room with balloons and banners. Authorities arrested her earlier this month for driving without a valid driver's license. Dalton police later admitted they pulled her over by mistake.
News Channel 9's Mary Beth Mangrum in Dalton right now with the family. She joins us now with an update. Mary Beth.
Kim, Josh, 19-year-old Ximena Arias-Cristobal's family has been awaiting her return to their Dalton home all day, and that's after we learned that the teenager was released from ICE custody just before 9:30 p.m. this evening. Now, yesterday we learned a judge granted Arias-Cristobal the lowest immigration bond possible, totaling out to $1,500. Family tells us that bond could only be processed after 4 p.m. today, and they had people on standby to pick her up at the Stewart Detention Center. We got to see Arias-Cristobal's exit from that ICE facility, caught on FaceTime with her family. She wore the same clothes she did that day she was arrested by Dalton police. We spoke with Arias-Cristobal's father, Jose, after learning about that release. He was also in that same detention center, and now that he and his daughter are released on bond, he feels like they can finally start figuring out their future as a family.
Una losa de encima de mí. Ya puedo estar tranquilo y recuperar las fuerzas para seguir adelante y arreglar toda esta situación y salir de este problema lo más pronto posible. Hay un dicho en México, tal vez en otros países, que dice que en el hospital y en la cárcel se conocen a los verdaderos amigos.
Now, Arias-Cristobal's family is still awaiting her arrival sometime later tonight. They tell us it may be after midnight. We'll be out here to keep you updated on when she arrives. Reporting live, I'm Mary Beth Mangrum, News Channel 9.
Mary Beth, thank you. After a judge approved Arias-Cristobal's bond, we spoke with her family about the next steps.
Her father says he hopes to gain legal status soon.
Que ahora sigue es terminar los trámites para poder estar con nuestro estatus bien aquí en el país y seguir trabajando duro como siempre, ella estudiando su universidad y yo pues seguir trabajando duro para salir adelante.
Arias-Cristobal still faces deportation. Her attorney says her next court hearing may not be until 2026.
The family says they came to the country when their daughter was 4 years old. Her two younger sisters were born here.
Her attorney tells us there is no clear path to citizenship because her parents were in the country without legal permission. Be sure to follow News Channel 9 on social media for the latest. Despite a Dalton police officer's resignation, the city tells us an administrative review of his actions continues tonight. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Chapman-Whitfield.
And I'm Josh Rowe. Officer behind the arrest of Ximena Arias-Cristobal resigned from his position late last week. That's according to his resignation letter.
His name is Leslie Allen O'Neill, and in his letter he claims there had been public and false claims about Arias-Cristobal's traffic stop and her arrest for driving without a license. In his letter, O'Neill claims the police department has done nothing to defend him.
News Channel 9's Mary Beth Mangrum joins us now to explain more behind the arrest, the traffic stop, and this resignation letter as well. Mary Beth.
Josh, Kim, we first learned Officer O'Neill pulled over the incorrect truck just over 2 weeks ago. He's now resigned from the Dalton Police Department, and that resignation letter we obtained says those charges against Arias-Cristobal were dropped, quote, without explanation.
This is unfortunately what happens when government applies a sledgehammer to an across-the-board perceived situation, that you have these injustices pop up.
after the Dalton Police Department dropped all charges from Ximena Arias-Cristobal's traffic stop.
I'm 10-4, one female 95.
Officer Leslie Allen O'Neill, seen in this video arresting the 19-year-old, sent this resignation letter to the chief of police. It says the department had a, quote, inadequate response to and defense against public accusations of false arrest, which arose after a charge from a valid arrest was publicly dropped without explanation.
Step away.
I'm sure there was a great amount of public and national pressure both ways on this story.
We saw some backlash against Officer O'Neill at a protest before Ximena was released on bond. And online, commenters called the arrest embarrassing and shameful, calling for Officer O'Neill's resignation. A woman who calls herself Officer O'Neill's life partner first posted on social media asking other departments who are looking for officers to reach out to him. She wrote, quote, "It is indeed possible to advocate for fair immigration policies while simultaneously supporting the critical role of law enforcement in upholding the law." A spokesperson for the city of Dalton tells us the department doesn't comment on personnel matters.
If the original stop was invalid, then the government can't benefit from things they found out after an illegal stop.
Go ahead and turn around for me. You have to go to jail by the state of Georgia.
Although driving without a valid license is an arrestable offense due to Georgia state law.
Now, the officer may argue that that was an honest mistake, pulling over the wrong vehicle, and then he discovered there's an unlicensed driver. Still, I think the city of Dalton probably did the right thing in this situation.
While Officer O'Neill has resigned, a Dalton spokesperson says their investigation into the stop will continue and its completion is around 2 weeks away. Josh?
Mary Beth, thank you. As far as the case goes, her attorney tells us she currently has no hearing set and they do not expect to set any until mid-2026.
Lawyers for Ximena Arias-Cristobal held a news conference today and they spoke out against some public comments that they've received, especially from elected officials.
Attorney Dustin Baxter specifically called out Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene when he said he wanted to address the, quote, false narrative being put out in the public.
Ximena and Jose and their family, they've been here for 15 years and they didn't bother to do anything to try and adjust their status, to try and get a visa or work permit or anything else. And because of that, they might as well be deported now. So this is false because there was nothing that Jose and Ximena could have done before now to get any type of lawful status. They tried.
We reached out to Representative Taylor Greene's office about this claim, and she said in a statement, in part, the consequences of their decision to break the law have now caught up with them. I also want to voice my support for the Dalton police officer who was simply doing his job. It is shameful that he felt forced to resign due to a lack of support from his department amid public backlash, end quote.
Fox Chattanooga's Ray Collado was at that news conference today and has more on this story.
Ximena Arias-Cristobal's attorneys argue police did not treat her fairly when they realized she didn't have a valid driver's license. They say her path to citizenship could rely on her father's case.
Anybody else in Georgia who is caught without a license will be given a ticket and will go up in court and pay their $300 fine. They treat Ximena differently because she's undocumented. And honestly, she's as American as anybody here.
Georgia state law says driving without a license is an arrestable offense. That could lead to jail time. We asked her lawyers about Ximena's lack of a proper license.
Driving without a license is in Georgia a misdemeanor. It shouldn't put you in jail. It shouldn't deprive you of your livelihood. It shouldn't deprive you of your schooling.
During the press conference, Ximena said she forgives Dalton police officer Leslie O'Neill.
The Bible says, forgive those who wrong you, and I forgive him, and there's nothing that I hold against him. I think the government needs to do what they need to do on his part and do what they need to do on my part, and that's how it has to be.
O'Neill resigned, citing a lack of proper support from the department. Arias-Cristobal's attorneys are now in the process of getting her a U visa. According to the Department of Homeland Security, this particular non-immigrant visa is for victims of certain crimes in the U.S. We asked Ximena's attorneys what allows her to qualify for this type of visa. They cited her, quote, false arrest during this traffic stop.
Because
These immigration officers are too busy transporting people for no license arrest from jail to jail across Georgia or across the United States. It's taking time that they could be using to actually make us safer by arresting people who are actual criminals.
Meantime, Ximena says she's just scared of potential backlash.
I do live in fear now, so does my family. My life is completely different. My life was turned upside down because I do think I am a target in my community for some people.
In Atlanta, Rick Riado, Fox Chattanooga.
Arias-Cristobal's attorneys tell us she currently has no hearings set, and they do not expect to set any until mid-2026.